What's up guys, today I wanted to share with you how I manage my finance as a freelance filmmaker. Thank you so much for tuning in guys, my name is Guillaume and I run a film production business here on the Gold Coast in Australia. Very often when I post pictures on social media of the camera gear I use, I receive comments and DMs of people asking, how can you afford all of this? When I read those comments, a few things come to my mind. The first thing is, I work really hard to afford all of this equipment, but I understand I'm not the only one working hard out there. You guys are working crazy hard too, and working hard can be a trap. It can lead to burning out. Working hard is important, but working smart is the real key to success. Trust me, I've been there. So I'll start this video by quoting Nassim Taleb. The three most harmful addictions are heroin, carbohydrates, and a monthly salary. In my own example, and I think that would apply to a lot of you guys in my community, I used to be an engineer for 4 years with a monthly salary. I was getting paid every month on the clock for those 4 years. I knew exactly what day I would be paid and how much I would be paid. This came with the huge convenience to be able to plan and forecast the month ahead. With my rent and other monthly expenses being usually the same, I knew very accurately how much I could spend and how much would be left. This was great in a way that if I would stick to my routine, I wouldn't get any, surprise financially. However, this was a trap, and when I quit my job, I entered the freelancing world. I learned the hard way what running my own business and not have a regular monthly income meant. I learned that there were seasons. For example, around the months of June or December, those were quiet periods. However, some other months like March or October, I would get a lot more busy. So when the months were quiet, I would usually focus my time on building my brand, spending time updating the website, doing advertising, doing a show reel, posting a lot on social media, and reaching out to get more work. This comes with a major downside. This meant when I was busy, I wouldn't work on the business, I would work in the business. This is a concept I actually learned in a book called The E-Myth. I'll put the link down in the description below if you're interested, talking about the differences of working in your business versus working on your business. Therefore, my income would follow those seasons, and when I would have a good month, I would buy more camera gear because why not? But eventually I would end up in a quieter period and get slammed by unexpected expenses like paying the card registration or paying my Adobe subscription. This was my financial situation for the first year and a half of running my own business, and despite doing not too bad from a business point of view, I knew something had to be done from a finance point of view. One day a friend told me to listen to an audiobook called The Barefoot Investor by Scott Papp. I put the link down in the description as well. The book is all about helping us with personal finances and covers multiple concepts. One of the concepts gives us a tool called the buckets. Basically, the entire money management plan consists in dividing your income into 3 buckets. First of all, a blow bucket for daily expenses, the occasional splurge and some extra cash to fight financial fires, a mojo bucket to provide some safety money, and finally a grow bucket to build long-term wealth and total security. When hearing this part, I realized this is not only something I should do for my personal finances, but I could adapt that for my sole trading business. To put everything into perspective, before I even did this, when an invoice was paid, I would keep the money into the main account and eventually have a savings account. But when hearing about the buckets, here is what I did. I opened not 3, but 5 savings accounts, and you can open more if it makes sense in your case. Those should be free to open and to manage, and if they are not, you should probably change bank. And then I built a Google spreadsheet and created 5 lines for the 5 buckets. I named the buckets as follow. The first one is called the personal bucket. It's for all my daily expenses, for the rent, for the fun activities, for the long-term savings, eventually stocks and cryptos account. Then I had a business bucket for all the daily expenses of the business, the fuel, the advertising, the subscriptions, all the other daily expenses. Then I created another one that's very specific to my business, which is the camera equipment bucket, where I would save to buy new pieces of equipment. Then I had a tax bucket for all my income tax, but as well for the GST, or what you call the VAT in the US, the TVA if you're in France. And finally, add the Mojo bucket. In this bucket, I put 6 months worth, for example, of all my daily expenses. So this is something you need to calculate depending on how much money you spend, but this gives me 6 months of runtime. If let's say tomorrow I stop working, you cannot touch for any reason that money unless it's an emergency. And buying that new sweet drone from DJI is definitely not a reason. The next step is going to be the attribution of the percentages for each bucket. In short, every time an invoice is paid, I split the money and transfer it to its respective accounts as follows. Please keep in mind that this step is going to be different for any one of you. But here is an example. For the personal bucket, I would put 30% of that income. Business bucket, 30%. These two first buckets are probably the most important, and I would select a percentage that is realistic based on your expenses. Then the camera equipment bucket, 10%. The tax bucket, 20%. In Australia, the GST is 10%, and the income tax varies on your yearly revenue and your business expenses. If you're not sure, contact your accountant, and I'd increase this number the first year and then assess. And then the Mojo bucket, 10%. I would recommend to have this one very high at the beginning. It should be your priority to reach the amount, and then you can forget about it and distribute the percentage across the previous buckets. So let's take an example, and let's say you've been paid $1,000 for a job. So now I know I can either spend the $100 I've saved on camera equipment, for example, or I can wait to have saved more to buy something more expensive. And to go along with this strategy, I use a list with all the gear I need. The most important urgent piece of equipment will be ranked at the top of my list, and I'll only buy this piece of equipment when I reach the required amount. This way I would not overspend and always have money to pay my bills on time. This one bucket really helped me manage my money better. For the people in my community who were wondering whether or not one day they could afford a Red camera, I'm saying yes, it's definitely possible. The main question is not so much how much money you are making as a freelancer, but the way you are managing your own finances. But guys, keep in mind that 4 years ago, when I decided to become a full-time filmmaker, I started with only one GoPro, the GoPro HD, if you remember, and it took me 4 years to build my kit to where it is today. This is not financial advice. This is just a tool that has worked for me, that I used for the past few years, and I wish I used even when I had a monthly salary before. The other thing I need to mention, and I would recommend, is to trial those percentages at the beginning and update them on a monthly basis. Like I mentioned, I recommend building that Mojo very quickly. This will give you peace of mind to know that you have a backup in the case of an event like COVID last year. The other thing too is that the nature of your business could be that you don't need to spend that much money on camera equipment. However, advertising and marketing is really important to your business. So you could replace that bucket by whatever is really important and is a big expense to your business, and you could replace it with your marketing budget, for example. This tool has also helped me a lot starting to grow my long-term saving by setting, for example, a goal of putting aside $1,000 a month. This gives me a really good estimate on how much I need to make to reach that target. If one month I make more, this is bonus. And if I make less, this should be alright too, because the buckets are going to absorb the variations month to month. This tool really helped me achieving some financial stability and being a lot less stressed having a plan. Another following question you may have is how much you should charge as a filmmaker, and I've made a video that I'm going to link up here. By the way, I hope you like the new space. I'm actually making a YouTube video behind the scenes on how I created that space. And that's it, guys. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below. Leave a thumb up if you think that tool could be useful for your business. Please don't forget to subscribe and press the bell to be notified every time I release the new video. I also wanted to mention that I'm currently partnering with the Artlist. The Artlist is my platform of choice when it comes to licensed music. Therefore, if you're using the link in my description below, you get 2 extra months of your yearly subscription. You can as well follow me on Instagram, Guillaume Cornet Films. I'll have the link down below. I do regular Q&As there as well. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.